All right, folks, what's happening? I hope you're excited for Dragonflight and that you're doing more than just killing a bunch of rats in Stormwind. In all seriousness, Froth DK is in a fantastic spot here, jumping into Dragonflight. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. We've got a bunch of different abilities that are going to drop here. We still have Anti-Magic Zone, which is absolutely fantastic for us. Just a bunch of different abilities out there. We're going to touch on 3 different builds here today, and let's get right into it. So the first one we're going to talk about is the two-handed Obliteration build for raiding, and to keep it as simple as possible, you're not going to see a lot of change here from the total Death Knight points. We're largely going to go with the build that you see. We're going to put 2 talent points here in Unholy Bond, and then a point in Empower Rune Weapon and a point in Abomination Limb that's following us over from Shadowlands. I'll drop down the talent, I don't know what the best way is to call it, talent build codes down in the video description, so look for them there if you're interested. As far as the actual talents themselves, this talent is going to run the left hand side of the tree, so you're going to put 2 ranks into Cold-Blooded Rage and pick up Obliteration naturally. After that, we're going to spread it out. We're going to pick up Icebreaker and then Everfrost as well. So looks pretty similar to where you're standing here at level 60 if you're just starting off Dragonflight. The alternative views that are out there, let me turn off my sound effects while that other Death Knight just stacks up the damage. So a couple other abilities. Now we're going to jump into more of the dual-handed build here. So stay tuned and we're going to make the magic happen. What we're necessarily looking at from a talent build for two-handing, there's 2 builds here. Now there's one along breath, and the Sindragosa breath build can do really well as long as there's not a bunch of running around or different mobs or anything else that you're trying to do. You can get the duration of your breath up above 60 seconds. So let's jump into it from Death Knight perspective. Again, looking to max out our 2 lowest tier options: Empower Rune Weapon, Abomination Limb, 2 points into Unholy Bond. The big difference here, we're actually going to invest in Exonerable Assault, pick up Might of the Frozen Wastes, going to put 2 ranks into Bone Grinder, Cold-Blooded Rage is getting 2 ranks, and then Obliteration. So really kind of stacking up on that from a DPS side there. Now, it's up to you if you want to go with the Empower Rune Weapon over here as well. I personally really like it. I'm always kind of so-so on the Horn of Winter. You know, having the 2 runes and runic power is alright on cooldown. It really just depends on your playstyle and how you're spamming. But you shouldn't necessarily need it. Not for this specific build. Now, if you do look a slightly different way, you actually see that I just reviewed the Obliterate build with you. Let me just try that again. See what's going to play out here. What I expect that we're going to see with the actual breath build, you're going to drive all of your points down into the Breath of Sindragosa build. So pick up these 4 abilities here, as well as Frostworm's Fury. And if you're doing that, you're going to see it's actually going to be ultra rewarding. So no Obliteration, no Absolute Zero, no Cold-Blooded Rage. You can even back up and take the pressure off of Bone Grinder and Shattering Blade. So back off on all these and just load up on this right-hand side of the tree. It'll be a pretty stark difference. Obviously, you can't have a lot of mobility with a build that's entirely set up this way along the right-hand side of the tree. But yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun, to be totally honest with you. So that's kind of the quick and dirty overview of where it is that we're going with our different builds here. Again, Frost is in a wicked spot. I actually think we're going to have some really viable options here as rating gets kicked off. And let me know your points. You going to have some fun here, or are things going to change pretty wickedly and wildly for us in our post Shadowlands existence? I was kind of hoping that we'd see Frost, we'd see Death Knight in general just absolutely dominate through Shadowlands, with it being an expansion about death. Didn't necessarily happen, with the exception of Blood at the end of the X-Pack there. Looking for a rebound here, and it's time for Frost to shine. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, folks. Peace.